Joining us now, Cecile Richards, co-founder of Supermajority and former president of Planned Parenthood, and Neera Tanden, president of the Center for American Progress and a former senior advisor to President Obama. Welcome both. Let me just go over, some of the facts of the case is that Bernie Sanders now is well behind. It'll be very hard for him to catch up. But back 4 years ago, he was well behind, and then California voted late in June. It was June 7th, I believe. Hillary Clinton pretty well nailed it. She had the superdelegates in her favor as well, which were first ballot voters back then. And he did not endorse until July 12th. 13 days before the convention. So, Neera, what is the motivation for him to endorse or suspend or reunite with the party now, since he has unlimited funds? He has raised more money online and continues to raise more money online than any presidential candidate in history.
Well, I do want to be very respectful of Senator Sanders. He's been he's had an incredible campaign, and there are many more primaries to come. And I don't think anyone should be pushing him out of the race. I think that's counterproductive. I would also say, though, that Democratic voters really are focused on beating Donald Trump. And so if the coming days and debates are about differences in policy, I think that's going to be more acceptable. But if they're about personal attacks, that'll be less acceptable. I do also want to say, throughout this race, Senator Sanders has made clear that he would strongly support and campaign for whoever the nominee is. If it's not him, he said that from the beginning, middle, and end. And I take him at his word.
Now, there are more women voting than men, and Cecile, Supermajority has an online petition to choose a woman for the ticket. Joe Biden was asked about that from Lawrence O'Donnell. Let's listen to that just earlier this week.
Well, first of all, I think there are a number of incredibly competent women capable of being president that have run and haven't even run yet. I trust all the women that are out there if they were to be my vice president. There are a number of women and African Americans as well who would meet that criteria for me. But I'm not focused on that at this point. But I promise you, my administration from vice president on is going to look like the country.
That seems to be leaning very far forward, that he would be choosing a woman. How important is it to choose a woman?
Well, I just think it's important that we have representative government, Andrea. And so as we saw, women, and as you've been reporting, women have been dominating this entire primary process. They've been the majority of voters in every single state. Overwhelmingly, African-American women, of course, really turning the tide in South Carolina. We saw again in Michigan last night. Women were the overwhelming majority of voters. And I think women are just ready for a government that actually looks like us. And, of course, a lot of women wish there would be a woman nominee this time. I think women are ready, as Neera said, ready to win. They're very practical. They're very focused on winning. But how important it is to have a ticket that actually says, we see all of you. And we think that women can lead as well as men. A lot of people say, when will we ever have a woman president? I think the fastest way to sort of short circuit that whole journey is to put a woman on the ticket this time.
And in fact, if Joe Biden were the nominee, and by the way, Shaq Brewster with the Sanders campaign, our embed covering, our correspondent covering, is confirming what I had heard earlier, that he's not suspending his campaign, but we will be listening very closely to any hints from the tone of his speech at 1 o'clock. But Neera, there are a number of women have been mentioned. Fred Hiatt, the editorial director of the Washington Post, wrote the other day, the choice should and almost surely will be a woman after watching a diverse field of promising candidates dwindle to 2 old white men. His words, not mine. Democratic voters will insist on that. He mentioned a number of governors as well. He mentioned Gina Raimondo of Rhode Island, Michelle Lujan Grisham of New Mexico, Gretchen Whitmer, whom we interviewed yesterday in Michigan. Stacey Abrams is always mentioned in Georgia, who has been working so hard on.
I mean, it's a testament to suppression
of the vote.
It's a testament to how many fantastic women there are. I think the ticket is really important. The entire ticket is really important to have diversity of gender, as I strongly support having a woman. I think racial diversity is also important, and ideological diversity. I do think it is important for the vice president to figure out ways to reach out to the entire party, as he has done over the last week and as he did last night.
And we should mention Amy Klobuchar Elizabeth Warren,
Absolutely,
the women who
Elizabeth
have run, Kamala Harris.
And Klobuchar, Kamala Harris, they're all fantastic. And I do think there is a sorrow that so many women have not been able to make it into the final two.
Neera Tanden, of course, and Cecile Richards, thank you both so very much.
Thanks.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.